and welcome to Business Matters, the show about people behind businesses that help make Tacoma a great place to live and work. I'm your host, Mike Wark. On this episode, the spotlight sets sail for a maritime adventure. Proctor is the district focus today with a family-friendly experience, and Andrew Fry fills us in on what's the deal on Tacoma Means Business. And today, my guests are Tom Rogers and Bud Bronson with Commencement Bay Marine Services. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. I'm fascinated by your story because, as our viewers will learn, the business is really the background of this story. The foreground is Youth Marine Services, and you guys started these businesses just to keep the youth programs going on the water for our youth. Is that right?
That's correct.
It's a great story. So we'll talk about the youth programs after we touch on the businesses briefly. Tell me about Commencement Bay Marine Services.
We're just celebrating our 10th anniversary. Started in 2007. And we all know that 2007 was the highlight of the economy at that point in time.
Wonderful recession taking place.
Well, it hadn't quite started at that point in time. We walked into this business, we had 37 derelict boats there.
Wow. And now this is on the Foss?
On the Foss waterway.
On the east side.
On the east side,
you're
just
looking across the water if you're
north of the bridge.
Right in the middle of the waterway.
Right in the middle of it. It's the building which is international code flag colors.
Oh, okay.
Yellow, blue, and red. You can't miss us.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, we got rid of the boats. Took us a year to get rid of them.
38 derelict boats.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Then we had the reception, and we knew that it was going to be a little bit difficult at that point in time. And then they closed the bridge for 5.5 years.
Oh my! So this is a story of perseverance. But
boy.
what you find there today, though, is a marine repair service, a boat repair service, and a fuel dock that are operating well.
That's correct. We've made great strides. Certainly, 2011 on, things begin to change for the economy, and today we're doing very nicely.
So if I want my boat repaired, if I'm having a problem, this is the place to go.
Yes.
Come see us.
Come see us.
Good quality?
Yes.
I call it Nordstrom philosophy.
Is that right?
You bet.
And I know you both have a long maritime background. Yeah. Both have military service with the Navy and the Coast Guard. And so you've lived and worked with boats your whole lives.
Yes.
How does that help inform the quality of the work that you do with there on the water?
Well, we know how to do it wrong, so how to do it right. We've probably seen just about every mistake you can, and we try not to repeat those.
That's good. And you know how to supervise a staff of mechanics and how to identify quality mechanics and make sure they're able to do what they need to do?
I think we have some of the best mechanics in Tacoma.
Is that right?
We've worked on that. We've built over the years. We've gone through about 3 generations of mechanics, and today we certainly have quality service.
3 generations.
It took a little while to sort things out.
Right. So you've built up, managed to have the best mechanics and keep them, and
yes,
that's working. And you also have a fuel business?
We have a fuel business down there. And again, that goes to support the youth programs.
So all your revenues that you draw out go to support youth programs?
After the bills are paid, they go back to youth programs.
And that's why you started this business in the first place, right?
That was the purpose of the whole endeavor.
Yes.
And what's is it the Sea Scouts that are the primary?
They're a primary user, but we work with Metropolitan Parks, community boat builders, just a number of different groups that we work with to provide moorage and space for them so that we can provide economical programs on the Foss Waterway.
Well, obviously, these programs are important to you. Tell me about the Sea Scouts and why, what it does for youth and what kind of activities they get engaged with.
Well, there are 2 major Sea Scout programs and several minor programs there, and that's not to minimize any, but the two most obvious ones are the 90-foot sailboat Odyssey and an 80-foot powerboat Curtis.
Okay.
We also have a 38-foot rowboat that was built here in Tacoma.
Wow. That
is the 3rd program here, and then we support remotely 2 Sea Scout ships in the Grays Harbor area.
Oh, no kidding.
That have come online in the last year or so.
And how large are those?
Well, they're fairly small right now, but they're growing, and those are additional programs that are supported by us out of the Youth Marine Foundation.
Now, the Odyssey is a beautiful boat.
Thank you.
Yes, and people will see it out on the harbor. Tell me a little more about it.
Odyssey was built in 1938 in City Island, New York for Mrs. Barclay Henry. who gave it to her husband as a birthday present. You know, like you give your wife a shopsmith because you want to go play. Well, she wanted to go play on the water, so she had the boat built. And they had the boat for 3 years until World War II started, and the Navy took it over.
Wow.
They had the ship until about the late 70s, in which it was out here at Whidbey Island, and they decided they were going to surplus it, and someone very nicely suggested that we could buy it for a price, and we got it for somewhere between $1 and $10, or we don't remember which. We bought it.
A beautiful wooden boat with 3 masts and sails, 2 masts. So you'll see, and those masts are pretty tall. When you see that thing out on the water, you know it's there.
The main mast is 105 feet off the water.
So what do the youth learn when they engage in these programs?
Seamanship, navigation. The Curtis is a powerboat, so they learn a lot more about the mechanical side of it, whereas Odyssey is a sailboat, so they learn to sail. Discipline.
Yeah.
They learn personal responsibility, that what they do makes a difference. And they end up running both boats with adult supervision, but they run the boats themselves while they're underway.
A lot of responsibility.
Teamwork, character, skills, the basics that you get a lot of it out of a boat. A boat is a community.
So as part of the reward for both of you, seeing transformation with these young people as they engage in these programs?
Oh, absolutely, and also the growth of programs, and also that they can go into living wage jobs.
Oh, does that occur?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Give me some examples.
One of our young ladies went through Cal Maritime, got her degree, worked in the industry, and I don't know whether she still is, but at one time she was the chief engineer on the Coho running between Port Angeles and...
The ferry?
Yes.
University of California maritime program that she went through?
It's Cal Maritime.
Cal Maritime, yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Well, both programs have had multiple youth go through Cal Maritime.
And we also provide, at this point in time, we've now been able to have apprenticeships within our program for some of these young people coming through down on the waterfront with us. Not only in our programs, but we see them going into the industry, the maritime industry. So we are actually able now to facilitate training or taking these young people with the different skills and putting them to work locally, or putting them to work on tugs or barges and other things.
And those are good jobs.
They're good jobs.
Paying jobs.
Yes.
You know, and that's what CBMSI was there to support. It helps us pay that overhead so that we can actually facilitate better training.
The Marine Docks helps pay for that training and all of the things that are involved with this.
Without that, it's too expensive to operate on the Foss Waterway.
Right.
We've never made money on a teenager. so we knew we had to have businesses to pay the bills.
And so this is a volunteer thing that both of you do.
Yes.
So it's a passion for you.
Yes.
It's about how many people do you serve a year?
We probably have 100 young people that are full-time, and then maybe we touch 200 to 300 more a year in different programs.
Like the Metro Parks Learning to Sail?
Yeah, we had Bethel School District out yesterday, and you're up in Port Madison right now.
Odyssey occasionally does a 3-day weekend in which we take upwards of 25 youth
Elementary
out of
kids?
Well, no, generally high school age.
Oh, okay.
Take them out and do minimal oceanographic type work.
That's right. And do samples of the water, bring things off the bottom. I actually went with my child on one of those once. Very memorable experience.
And we're building a relationship now with Sammy and Soda. We've needed classrooms. We don't have that. We're in remodeling right now. But by next year, the classrooms will be in place, and they can actually come down and work with the center.
That's really impressive. The reach is really deep for
Yes.
these programs. Tell me briefly about the boat building program.
We don't do so much boat building, boat repairs. All the boats have to be repaired by the young people, but are a participant of that. But a lot of our training today meets the Coast Guard standards of training. Both are inspected vessels, so we have to take young people in through the Coast Guard programs. As far as the boat repair, the facility business side of that, that's a different story. We have good mechanics that are working on boats and for the community. A person coming into our program and working with Commencement Marine Services is getting a good quality workmanship but you also know that at the same time they're supporting youth programs.
So that's all the more reason to bring your boat to
Yes.
your business.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I mean, they get a twofer out of that, and that's really basically a very good thing, I think, for this community.
I agree. And it's also on the Foss Waterway, in a great part of that redeveloped area. It'll always have
Yes.
active, youth-oriented marine activity there.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're going to find ways to continue to broaden its reach into our community.
We're certainly working at that.
Well, this is a great story. Tom and Bud, thanks for all you do with Commencement Bay Marine Services, and I'm going to come check it out. I don't have a boat yet, but
You're always welcome to come visit us.
Please do.
thanks.
Yes, please do. Come take a tour.
Okay. Stay tuned. After this, we have District Focus, where we'll visit the Proctor Business District. Connecting people to business is what Tacoma is all about. As one of the first established Tacoma business districts, Proctor is a family mix of restaurants and shops, along with one of the oldest theaters in the state. From an established farmers market to events, the Proctor District has something for everyone.
I'm Reggie Frederick, and I'm Vice President of the Proctor District Association. We have roughly 100 businesses here in the district: retail, food, 2 grocery stores, movie theater, bowling center, attorney, dentist, doctors, so you see the whole gamut. We have the oldest continually operated movie theater on 94 years, the Blue Mouse, here in town. Matter of fact, we used to go there as a child. I just grew up 2 miles to the south of here. Our bowling center, Chalet Bowl, is the oldest operated bowling center in the state, which started 75 years ago. So that's a lot of history. Proctor Station has opened up 151 mixed-use center living spaces for apartments, and there's retail on the bottom floor. The idea is it'd be very viable, have a lot of people that can live here, can bike to work, walk to work, take the bus, and that's what we're going to see in the near future. We were the district that started having lampposts, tree surrounds, trees planted in the district, bike racks, garbage cans, and then from there it just kind of blossoms. About 5 times a year we have those flags change out. They're seasonal, so right now you got flowers up for the Junior Daffodil Parade. During Memorial Weekend we'll stay through July 4th, we'll have American flags, we'll have holiday flags, we'll have fall flags, and that's very cool. We have 2 schools here in the district with about 1,200 kids, so hence there's a lot of activity, you know, those 9 months of the year, parents dropping kids off, picking them up. You know, it's the backbone of our district. We have the farmers market. It's virtually year-round. It's on Saturdays from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. So they go year-round basically from the end of March through Christmas, and then they go once a month, January, February, March, and then they start back up again at the end of March. That draws in probably 2,000 to 3,000 people a weekend. It's a jam-packed area, very vibrant, very exciting to see people going in and out shopping, going to the farmer's market, stopping off to have a pint of beer, and there's just a lot happening here.
For more information on experiencing Tacoma business, log on to experiencetacoma.com. Coming up on Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry provides some words of wisdom on the art of deal making. Let's Make a Deal is more than a game show. It's part of doing business with the goal of achieving a win-win solution for businesses. On this edition of Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry talks about the pros and cons of dealing in today's economy.
One of the exciting moments that you're going to find when you're running a small business is that at some point in its future, there'll be another company that wants to do a deal with you. And so one of the things that you might want to consider is, what steps can I take? What are some things that I can do as a checklist in my mind before negotiating a business deal? One of the first things that you need to do is weed out the tire kickers. Make certain that if someone approaches you and they'd like to do a business deal with you, that they aren't really just out there looking for information. And this has happened to me a few times over the years, where you get involved with someone, they say that they're interested in negotiating a business deal with you, but what you find is you get the impression they're just trying to gather information for something else that they have going on. So weed them out quickly. You don't want to give away your corporate knowledge to someone who might be a competitor in the future. Number 2, know what your must-haves are going in. If you want to negotiate a business deal, what are the things that you need from it? You don't do it for the sake of doing it. You do it because there's something that you can gain. Know what those are prior to going into the negotiation. And the third thing that you might need to do is some advanced research. Make certain that you know as much as you can about the business, about the market that the combined business deal will go into, so that you are informed and don't make any mistakes in terms of the concessions you might make. Which brings us to the next one. Make certain in terms of the negotiation that you establish a positive tone. Don't go into it as an adversarial negotiation, but rather as the win-win situation that you're hoping for. So remember that you try to keep that positive tone. Even when they move forward and ask for concessions, you need to, if you've thought about it, know what concession you're willing to give, as long as you get one in return, and you can still keep it positive. Another one is, don't spend too much time negotiating a business deal if you're doing it without a decision maker there with you. And this is something that happens a lot in businesses, especially one that might be larger than yours. They'll send someone in to do negotiation, to try and construct the deal, but they don't have the authority to make the deal. You've put yourself at a disadvantage because, in a sense, you're going into the next round of negotiation with the person who's capable of making the decision. The next is, be certain that you're clear about what you've just negotiated. I know it sounds like it should be something simple, but keep track of them, and at the very end, you reflect back. Okay, here's how it's going to work. Here's what we're going to gain. Here's what we're willing to give up, and this is the end result of it. Once you have that particular decision laid out, the next thing you do is make certain that you've got it down in writing within 24 hours. Don't wait till next week. Don't gather everyone together and say, here's the deal that I've got. Write it down and have it down within 24 hours. So follow all these along, and chances are you're going to have a pretty successful business negotiation.
Thanks, Andrew. For more information on Tacoma Business, log on to tacomameansbusiness.com. When Business Matters returns, we weigh anchor on a nautical tour around the Sound in the Spotlight. Today in the Spotlight, we weigh anchor and set course for an adventure at sea.
Well, I'm Captain Tom, and we operate Destiny Harbor Tours and Riviera Cruises.
Captain Tom Drohan launched Destiny Harbor Tours back in 2007. His fleet features 2 restored Navy boats, along with tours from his charter and sightseeing boat with Riviera Cruises. Captain Tom's business is the Puget Sound.
We provide guided sightseeing tours to the general public from Tacoma and Gig Harbor.
Captain Ethan Allen is a master, not only of the boats and the business, but he has a passion for Tacoma history, the environment, and lots of sea stories about the City of Destiny.
Tacoma here has an amazing history. It's amazing the way the city comes right down to the water here, and then we have some pretty pristine wildlife areas.
Since there are competitors in the tour service business, Destiny Harbor Tours found a niche in the valley for customers seeking a good time for just a couple of hours of adventure.
Unlike a lot of other tours on Puget Sound, you actually get not only the history of the area, but also we talk about the ecology and the geography as well. That's a really special thing about this tour.
Some of the services range from eco-touring, sightseeing, and charters to experiencing the Tacoma Narrows bridges, exploring Commencement Bay, and soaking in Northwest wildlife.
Puget Sound is unarguably the most beautiful place to tour probably in the world. There's over 70 miles of shoreline just right here in the city of Tacoma, and we take our guests right up close and personal with all of it.
Destiny Harbor Tours and Riviera Cruises feature crews with a world of Puget Sound nautical experience. There's much more to captaining these tours than piloting a boat. The crews share a fascinating and entertaining store of colorful Northwest knowledge to ensure customers thoroughly enjoy their adventures.
Being on board a nice large boat and having control of it and being able to bring it into areas where you can show people the sights and show them the history of the area. It couldn't be a much better job if you tried to find one.
Unlike a brick and mortar shop, a business like Destiny Harbor Tours is all about boats. These are the tools needed to keep the company afloat.
The boats have a super smooth ride, and the boats are easy to get on for people that are old and young.
Sightseeing tours are the bread and butter of the business. Captain Tom finds his customer base is both local and international. Yes, his company's reputation already spans the globe.
And we do have visitors from around the world and all across the United States that seek us out. They find us online and they come for what might be the most fantastic on-the-water tour in the United States.
Captain Ethan, along with the other members of Destiny crew, all have more than one job skill. Some are guides, others are hosts, but all make the boat go with stories and observations that customers love.
I am the master of the ship when it's underway, and I'm also the main tour guide. Sometimes I have a crewman driving the boat, but mainly I'm pointing out the sights while making sure the vessel is safe and we're on the correct course along Puget Sound.
The future of Destiny Harbor tours and Riviera cruises is all based on Puget Sound waters. Captain Tom says the mix of Tacoma's urban energy and the unique wild beauty makes the perfect combination for his business model.
Tacoma is in the lap of Puget Sound country. We are beautifully located between the Olympic Mountains and Mount Rainier, and we've got the Puyallup River flowing into the bay. So we have the wonderful combination of an exciting urban environment coupling with the wildness of nature on Puget Sound.
That's it for Business Matters. Join me next time for more insight into the Tacoma business scene. See you then.